Hello and welcome to your own channel. Let's talk business once again. As always, I'm really excited to have you here. Now, this is the fifth and the final video presentation in this series where we are covering London Matters 2020 report. In this short video presentation, we will see and talk about the players in the London market. So as always, there is a lot to know and a lot to discuss. So without waiting more, let's start talking business. So for those who are new to my channel, I am Ravi Shankar. I'm having more than 16 years of experience in business analysis, largely associated with PNC and general insurance domain from last 3.5 years or close to 4 years, practicing in London insurance and reinsurance market, mainly focusing on Lloyd's of London. If you have any queries related to this video presentations or my previous video presentations, do reach me at ravi.s.sharma@hotmail.com. You can also reach me at my LinkedIn ID, and I'm also available on Twitter. So for those who are watching this video presentation first time, so this is the fifth video presentation in this series. As I said before, in this series we are discussing about the LMG's London Matter 2020 report. So far in this series we have covered the size and composition of the London market. We have talked about the contribution of London market into the UK and global economy. Then we have also discussed and talked about the global capital base, and in today's session we will be talking about the players in the London market. So let's go ahead and let's start talking business. This is the first time when the London Matter report is analyzing the profile of the carriers writing business into the London market and how these has evolved over the period of time. Now, according to the report, the London market has become more concentrated in last couple of years. Now, if you can see this carefully, the top 10 carriers writing 47% of the business. Now, earlier in 2010, it was just 41%. Now it has grown to 47% in 2018. So this reflects the fact that the larger global carrier have entered the market through merger and acquisition activities, thus diversifying, growing in specialty class of business, and developing new capabilities around them. So let me give you an example. So now you can see over here in 2018, the AXA acquired XL Catalin, and AIG acquired Validus Group somewhere in 2018. Now, when we talk about the Catalin Underwriting Agencies Limited, so it is a managing agent at Lloyd's of London. The primary syndicate managed by COAL or Catalin Underwriting Agency Limited is Syndicate 2003, which is wholly supported by the Catalin Group corporate member at Lloyd's. And Syndicate 2003 has been the largest syndicate at Lloyd's in terms of gross premium written since 2007. So you can understand the magnitude of this acquisition. Syndicate 2003 write a full range of property, casualty, marine, aviation, and other specialty coverages. Now, if you talk about the AIG acquisition of Validus Group in 2018, this deal is also quite huge. Talbot operate within the Lloyd's insurance market through Syndicate 1183, and it is a market leader in war, terrorism, energy, and marine sector. I'm talking about the Talbot. Now, Talbot is having an expert team of highly skilled and experienced underwriters and balanced geographically diversified portfolio of business, and that's the reason that Talbot has earned the reputation as an insurer and reinsurer specialist. Now, as I said in my previous presentations, there are two main reasons due to which the companies are coming to London market. So the first reason is about expanding beyond their stagnant domestic market. So they are really looking for the new market. They really wanted to expand themselves. Their existing market is kind of like stagnant. So they want to expand. So that is the first reason. And the second reason is about developing a capabilities or capacity to compete in the more complex overseas property and casualty risk market. Now, These are the two main reasons when the giants or the other insurance companies are attracted towards the London. Now we can see this consolidation in two different ways. Firstly, which is kind of having a negative outlook from the end customer point of view, and which is consolidation can result in less choice for the customer. Means the customer will maybe having a few players to choose with to put their risk on. But on the other side, it also provides access to the larger global balance sheet that offers several benefits, including increased capacity and access to more product and services. So it's kind of like a balancing act where at one front the customer is not having much choice, on the other front the customer is having access to the huge balance sheet, more sophisticated way of doing business, more product and services, etc. So it's kind of like a balancing act. Now moving ahead, and let's talk about the company market and Lloyd's market and the dual platform and how the business is getting placed over here. So the share of premium written by the companies operating in both Lloyd's and the company market, which we also call as a dual platform, is nearly doubled between 2010 and 2018. So if you can see over here, in 2010, the percentage of share placed in London market and Lloyd's was around 35%. Now this is drastically increased to 67% in 2018. So there's a huge shift in the dual market. Whereas if you can see, the risk placed only in Lloyd was 41% in 2010, which was reduced to just 12% in 2018, and there was a marginal deflection in the risk placed only in company market from 24% to 21%. Writing business in dual platform offer capital providers greater flexibility as to where they write their risk and provide customers with greater choice. So it's a mutually benefited for both the capital provider as well as customers. So part of their risk they will place in Lloyd, part of their risk they will place in company market, so they can manage their risk, entire risk portfolio really well. And let me give you some examples. So Lloyd has far-reaching distribution network and access to the key markets, say for example US excess and surplus market. So placing risk in Lloyd's market will give you a direct access to the US excess and surplus market. So that is an added advantage for a customer who is placing risk in Lloyd's. And additionally, they can also place the risk at the same time, the part of the risk at the same time in the company market, just to distribute their overall risk. Right? So quite interesting. So now the central message from this slide is more and more customers are now placing risk in dual platform, where they are putting part of the risk in Lloyd's and part of the risk in company market, or just to manage their overall risk portfolio or mitigate the risk. Right? Moving ahead, now if you can see, the makeup of London market has changed since 2010, when 26% of London market premium were written by the business domiciled in the UK. So if you can see over here, in 2010, 26% of the premium was written by the insurer or by the business who is domiciled in UK, which was now reduced to just 15% in 2018. But in the same year, the majority of the premium, which is around 62% in the London market, was controlled by the large companies. Now, these large global carriers control substantial insurance premium volume outside of London, which was around 800 billion. But what it really means, we have to understand. The increased internationalization of the London market create the advantage as well as disadvantage. We will have a look on both the side. What is advantage and what is disadvantage? At one hand, it has boosted the importance and the scale of the London market, its efficient processing, expert underwriting, and etc. On the other hand, the London market is just one of many priorities of these companies. The insurer are seeking more flexibility across the platform on which they operate to enable them to shift risk and capital more easily and more rapidly between the London and other market. Now, there is a risk also associated with it. The global insurance companies could pull back from London if the performance of the London declines or if the volatile nature of this market persists for some more time. So there may be a company who can decide to absolutely pull back from the London market. Well, that's all from today's video presentation, and also this is the end of London Matter 2020 series, and I hope that you have gained some knowledge from today's session. Thanks a lot for your valuable time. Goodbye and take very good care of yourself. Bye, and I will see you soon in next video presentation. Thank you and see you soon.